Elegance isn't about money, status, or age, it's about presence. And being unbothered isn't about ignoring life, it's about mastering it. As you grow older, the little things you choose to do every day shape the way the world sees you, and more importantly, the way you see yourself. Today, I want to share 6 small habits that, when practiced consistently, make you elegant, graceful, and unshakably unbothered. When you learn to speak less but with impact, you unlock one of the most elegant and unbothered traits a person can carry into older age. Most people think communication is about saying more, filling the silence, proving their point, or showing that they know something. But elegance is never loud. Elegance is found in the restraint, in the pause, in the deliberate choice of words that land with clarity instead of noise. When you train yourself to speak less, you naturally become more intentional, and that intentionality draws respect without you even asking for it. People lean in when you finally do speak because they know it's not just filler, it's substance. That is the power of fewer, stronger words. There's a quiet authority that comes with restraint. Think about the people who command attention without raising their voices. They don't rush to interrupt. They don't battle to be heard. They simply wait until the moment is right, and then they deliver their words with precision. It's not just about silence. It's about self-control. And self-control is what separates someone who's constantly rattled by life from someone who appears calm, centered, and untouchable. Speaking less forces you to listen more, and listening gives you an advantage that most people miss. You're no longer just reacting, you're absorbing. You're taking in the details, the tone, the unspoken emotions, and when you finally speak, it's tailored to hit exactly where it needs to. That is elegance in motion. This habit also shields you from unnecessary conflict. The more you talk, the more chances you give people to twist your words, to misinterpret your intentions, to drag you into battles you don't need to fight. But when you speak less, when you choose your words like rare stones, you reduce openings for drama. You don't get baited into arguments, you don't feel the need to defend every thought, and you don't reveal more than what's necessary. The unbothered version of you knows that not every statement deserves a response, and not every opinion requires your participation. Silence can be the loudest answer, and measured speech can be the most powerful weapon. Elegance is also reflected in tone and delivery. Even when you do speak, it's not about being robotic or cold, it's about being deliberate. A calm tone, steady pacing, and a certain softness in your choice of words carry more weight than any volume or speed. When you remove the need to rush, your words sink deeper. People remember not only what you said, but how you made them feel when you said it. That emotional echo is what lingers, and it builds your presence without force. The unbothered person doesn't need to shout their truth, they live it in the way they communicate. Another layer to this habit is patience. Speaking less means you give conversations room to breathe. You allow others to reveal themselves while you maintain composure. Often, people expose their weaknesses, their frustrations, and their insecurities simply because they can't resist filling silence. When you practice restraint, you not only protect your own image, but also learn more about others than they know about you. Knowledge is power, and power held quietly is elegance. You're not competing for attention. You're observing, storing, and responding only when necessary. That is what keeps you unbothered, because you're no longer fighting for the last word. You're owning the entire conversation by needing fewer words at all. This habit also transforms relationships. Friends, colleagues, and even family members start valuing your input more because it isn't constant. When you speak less, your words gain scarcity, and scarcity breeds value. People start paying closer attention because they know when you contribute, it matters. You no longer blend into the noise of constant chatter. You stand out as the one who speaks from thought, from principle, from wisdom, and as you age, this becomes even more powerful. The elegance of maturity is found in not needing to compete for recognition, but in allowing your presence and carefully chosen words to speak volumes without effort. To practice this habit, it requires discipline. The natural urge in a heated moment is to react, to defend, to prove a point. But elegance requires you to pause, to breathe, and to ask yourself, will these words elevate me or diminish me? Speaking less but with impact isn't about suppressing your voice, it's about elevating it by stripping away the unnecessary. You're editing yourself in real time, removing the clutter, and delivering only what matters. And when you do this consistently, you carry yourself with a grace that doesn't age. Your words stop being noise and start being notes of music in a world full of static. Move with intention, not rush. That is one of the clearest signals of elegance, and one of the strongest shields against being bothered by the noise of life. When you move with intention, every step you take feels grounded. People can sense that you are not being pulled by chaos, but guided by purpose. Rushing, on the other hand, makes you appear scattered, anxious, and desperate. Even if you know what you're doing, rushing sends the message that you're not in control. Intention communicates calm power. And calm power is the very definition of being unbothered. Think about how rushing changes your energy. When you rush, your breathing quickens, your tone sharpens, your body tenses. You send signals of stress not only to yourself, but to everyone watching. It's contagious. People feel your anxiety and mirror it. But when you move with intention, steady steps, deliberate gestures, measured responses, you send a completely different signal. You communicate stability, confidence, and assurance. People feel safer around you, they trust you more, and they're drawn to your steadiness. This is why leaders who move with intention always stand out. They don't just carry authority in their words, but in their rhythm. Moving with intention also saves you from mistakes. Rushing through life often forces you to redo, to correct, to apologize, to repair damage caused by acting too quickly. You miss details, overlook opportunities, and make choices that cost you in the long run. But when you slow down and approach everything with clarity, you see more. You notice details others miss. You weigh the consequences before stepping forward. This doesn't mean you move slowly. It means you move wisely. Elegance is not about speed, it's about precision. The unbothered person doesn't get swept into panic. They maintain their course because they've thought through their direction. Your physical presence also changes when you embrace this habit. Watch someone who is always rushing. They bump into things, they shuffle papers, they drop items, they trip over their own words, they look unsettled. Now compare that to someone who moves with intention. Their posture is upright, their gestures are calm, they make eye contact, they don't fidget. They may take the same amount of time to get somewhere, but the impression they leave is completely different. One looks frantic, the other looks composed. As you age, this composure becomes a mark of elegance. It makes people see you as grounded and self-assured, regardless of the setting. It's also a reflection of priorities. People who rush are often reacting to everything around them, letting the outside world set their pace. They answer every message immediately, they jump at every demand, they try to be everywhere at once. It looks like productivity, but it's actually surrender. Moving with intention means you decide what matters most and align your actions to that. You're not reactive, you're selective. You understand that not everything deserves your urgency, and by giving your attention only to what truly matters, you conserve energy, protect your peace, and reinforce your elegance. This habit transforms even the smallest parts of your day. Eating slowly, walking with purpose, handling objects carefully, listening fully before responding. These small acts separate the rushed from the intentional. When you eat slowly, you enjoy the moment. When you walk with purpose, you arrive with presence. When you handle objects carefully, people see respect in your movements. And when you listen fully before speaking, you show control. Every one of these actions communicates that you are not hurried, not pressed, not easily shaken. You are unbothered because you refuse to be pulled into the current of frenzy. Even your relationships shift when you live this way. People feel the difference between someone who is always rushing through interactions and someone who is fully present. The rushed person interrupts, forgets, and overlooks the emotions of others. The intentional person makes others feel heard, valued, and respected. That builds deeper trust and admiration. And here's the beautiful part. People often remember less of what you did for them and more of how you made them feel. Moving with intention leaves them with the sense that you valued their time, that you weren't just checking them off your list. That impression lasts longer than words ever could. Practicing this habit requires awareness. The urge to rush is almost instinctive in today's world. You feel it when your phone buzzes, when traffic slows, when someone pressures you with deadlines. But the discipline is in catching yourself and choosing intention over frenzy. Take the extra breath before reacting. Place the cup gently instead of slamming it down. Walk into the room with steady steps instead of a frantic pace. These small choices, repeated daily, become your signature. Over time, people will know you as the one who moves with calm precision, and they will respond to you with respect. Dress in timeless simplicity is not about fashion trends, it's about presence. Trends come and go, styles shift with every season, but timeless simplicity has a power that never fades. It is elegance stripped of noise, unbothered by the demand to keep up, and focused on what truly matters: grace, confidence, and clarity. When you dress with simplicity, you signal to the world that you know who you are, and you don't need layers of distraction to prove it. It's not about being plain or dull, it's about being intentional, choosing pieces that reflect dignity and composure instead of chasing approval. The first thing people notice about you, before you speak or act, is how you present yourself. Clothes send a message long before words do. A rushed outfit, cluttered with too many patterns, loud accessories, or desperate attempts to look current, often communicates insecurity rather than confidence. But timeless simplicity, clean lines, classic colors, well-fitted clothing, communicates calm assurance. It tells people you are not here to compete for attention, but to hold your ground with quiet confidence. That is elegance, and the beautiful part is that you don't need endless money or designer labels to achieve it. Simplicity is available to anyone who values presence over pretense. There is a certain freedom in dressing this way. When your wardrobe is guided by timeless simplicity, you remove the pressure of constantly chasing the latest look. You don't wake up stressed about how to appear fashionable enough. You know what works for you, and you wear it with confidence. That freedom keeps you unbothered because you are not tied to the world's approval. You don't dress to impress. You dress to express stability, refinement, and self-respect. And ironically, when you stop chasing trends, people notice you more, not less. They see your steadiness, and steadiness is rare. This habit also influences the way you carry yourself. When you dress simply, you carry less distraction. You're not adjusting, tugging, or hiding behind the noise of too many pieces. You're comfortable but polished. You move with ease because your outfit isn't wearing you, you are wearing it. That calm composure radiates, and people rate it as confidence. Dressing in timeless simplicity doesn't mean boring, it means intentional, and intentionality always looks elegant. Think of the people who remain style icons through generations. They're not remembered for chasing every trend, but for their simplicity. A crisp white shirt, a well-cut blazer, a black dress, clean shoes, neutral tones. These pieces don't scream, but they never fade. That is the beauty of timelessness. You can wear something simple today, 10 years from now, or 20 years later, and it will still hold grace. This kind of consistency builds an image that doesn't need to be reinvented every season. And as you age, that stability becomes part of your identity. People know what to expect from you, and they admire the elegance of your constancy. There's also a deeper psychological layer. Dressing in timeless simplicity keeps you unbothered because it reduces decision fatigue. When your wardrobe is streamlined, you're not wasting energy debating endless options. Your mornings become calmer, your routines smoother, your mind clearer. Instead of chasing clothes to define you, you let your presence and your actions define you. This balance between simplicity and confidence radiates outward, making people associate you with peace rather than chaos. Timeless simplicity also translates into respect. People notice when someone respects themselves enough to present with care. It's not about vanity, it's about dignity. A neat, simple, and polished appearance shows self-discipline, and self-discipline always draws admiration. In contrast, dressing sloppily or overcompensating with excessive flair often communicates either neglect or insecurity. But simplicity communicates strength. It shows you are sure of yourself, and you don't need to shout through your clothes to be heard. That self-assurance is what keeps you unbothered when others chase fleeting approval. The beauty of this habit is that it becomes part of your character. Over time, you realize that timeless simplicity in dress begins to mirror timeless simplicity in your life. You start valuing quality over quantity, depth over surface, clarity over clutter. Your wardrobe is no longer just clothes. It's a reflection of the mindset that says, I don't need to chase what fades, I choose what lasts. And that mindset carries over into how you handle relationships, conversations, and even challenges. It becomes a philosophy of living, not just a way of dressing. Guard your energy, not your ego. That single choice separates those who grow with elegance from those who grow bitter and worn out. Ego demands that you prove yourself in every room, argue every opinion, defend every mistake, and fight for recognition. But energy is your life currency, and if you spend it on protecting ego, you run empty long before you should. When you guard your energy, you stop fighting unnecessary battles. You stop pouring yourself out into places, people, and situations that don't deserve it. You begin to value peace over pride, growth over argument, and clarity over chaos. That's where elegance is born, in choosing what deserves your response and what does not. Most people drain themselves not because of hard work, but because of wasted work. They argue over things that will not matter in a day, a week, or a year. They replay conversations in their minds, trying to win imaginary battles long after the moment has passed. They explain themselves to people who were never listening in the first place. That is ego at work. It keeps you chasing validation, spending your strength where nothing will return to you. Guarding your energy means cutting those losses before they happen. It means recognizing that silence can often protect you more than explanation ever could. It means you stop showing up to every fight your ego invites you to. There is a deep calm that comes when you begin to guard your energy. You no longer feel compelled to answer every criticism. You no longer let gossip pull you in. You no longer allow people to hand you their chaos like a package you must carry. Instead, you pause and ask, is this worth my energy? If the answer is no, you let it pass. That discipline not only preserves your strength, but also builds an image of someone who is unbothered and composed. People notice it. They realize you cannot be provoked into wasting yourself on the trivial. That presence alone creates respect, because people see that you are not driven by ego, but by wisdom. Guarding your energy also means learning how to set boundaries. Not everyone should have access to your time, attention, or emotions. When you are younger, you may feel the need to say yes to everything, to prove you're available, helpful, and present. But with age, you realize that saying yes to everything is just another way of saying no to yourself. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They let in what feeds you and keep out what drains you. That selectiveness is elegance. It says you know your worth, and you refuse to let your energy be consumed by things beneath that worth. The way you respond to provocation is another test of whether you guard your energy or your ego. Ego wants to clap back immediately, to prove you are right, to shut down anyone who questions you. But energy asks a different question: what is the cost? Will speaking right now bring peace or more chaos? Will proving my point give me strength or drain me further? Guarding your energy often looks like restraint. It looks like walking away, like holding your silence, like choosing calm over conflict. To some, it may look like weakness, but in reality, it's the purest form of strength, because it shows mastery over yourself. Another aspect is choosing where to invest your energy positively. It's not just about protecting yourself from drains, but also about placing your strength where it multiplies. Relationships that build you, routines that ground you, work that fulfills you, these are worth your energy. Elegance is not just avoiding chaos, but pouring yourself into what elevates you. When you guard your energy this way, you're not running on empty, you're building reserves. That glow, that calmness, that ability to be unshaken. It comes from wisely choosing where your energy goes. Even in daily conversations, you see the difference. Some people argue over every word, correct every detail, chase every misunderstanding. They believe winning those small moments proves their value. But all it really shows is insecurity. The unbothered person does not need to waste energy proving small points. They know when to correct and when to let it slide. They know when to engage and when to smile and move on. That discernment is the art of guarding energy. It saves you from exhaustion and positions you as someone who values peace more than pride. Guarding your energy also changes how you see yourself. Ego is fragile. It needs constant defense. Energy is strength. It grows when protected. When you live by ego, your sense of worth is tied to how others see you, how they treat you, how they respond to you. When you live by energy, your worth is tied to how you manage yourself, how you preserve your peace, how you continue moving forward regardless of noise. This shift makes you lighter, calmer, and far more elegant as the years pass because you've chosen preservation over performance. Respond with calm, not reaction. That is one of the most powerful habits that makes you both elegant and unbothered as you age. Life will never stop testing you. People will cut you off in traffic. They will misunderstand your intentions. They will say things to provoke you. Situations will appear without warning, pulling you into stress and chaos, but the way you respond defines you more than the situation itself. Reaction is quick, emotional, often messy. Calm is steady, measured, and intentional. Choosing calm over reaction is not about ignoring reality. It's about mastering yourself in the face of it. When you react, you give away your power. You hand control of your emotions to whoever triggered you. A single word, a rude comment, or an inconvenience can suddenly dictate your tone, your mood, and even your decisions. Reaction is immediate because it comes from impulse, not thought. But calm is different. Calm pauses. Calm sees the situation, breathes, and then decides how to answer. Calm refuses to let the outside world dictate the inside world. That is elegance, when your composure is not shaken by every disturbance. There is a quiet strength in calmness. People expect you to react. They expect you to argue, to shout, to match their chaos with your chaos. When you don't, it unsettles them, it confuses them, it even frustrates them, because they realize they cannot control you. That's the essence of being unbothered. Your calmness becomes your shield. It doesn't just protect your peace, it also commands respect. Even those who tried to provoke you eventually recognize that they cannot pull you into their storm. You remain steady, and that steadiness makes you powerful. Responding with calm also creates clarity. In the heat of reaction, you often say or do things you regret later. You overcommit, you insult, you escalate. But when you hold your calm, you give yourself the chance to see clearly. You notice details, you hear tones, you recognize motives. You realize that not every issue needs confrontation, and not every comment needs correction. Calmness gives you perspective. Reaction narrows your vision, but calmness widens it. You see beyond the moment and make decisions that align with your values, not just your feelings. This habit is also a mark of maturity. Anyone can react. Children react, the inexperienced react, the insecure react, but to respond calmly requires discipline, patience, and strength. It shows that you've grown beyond the need to prove yourself in every moment. It shows that you understand the difference between power and control. Power is loud, but control is quiet. The unbothered person doesn't need to raise their voice or rush into conflict. They carry their influence in how they remain steady when others shake. Your relationships shift when you practice this. In conflict with friends, partners, or family, a calm response de-escalates what could easily spiral into damage. Instead of shouting back, you listen. Instead of fueling the fire, you lower the temperature. This doesn't mean you avoid hard conversations. It means you enter them with control, ensuring your words build instead of destroy. People begin to trust you more because they know you won't fly off the handle at the smallest issue. They feel safer around you, and safety is one of the deepest forms of respect in any relationship. Responding with calm also preserves your health. Reaction keeps your body in constant fight or flight, heart racing, muscles tense, stress hormones flooding your system. Over time, this drains you, but calmness slows everything down. It regulates your breathing, keeps your body at ease, and protects you from unnecessary stress. Elegance is not just about how you look. It's about how you carry yourself from the inside out. And nothing radiates health and grace like calm composure. It also sets you apart in professional and social settings. In a world where most people are quick to react to angry emails, defensive comments, heated debates, the one who responds with calm becomes memorable. You stand out as someone who cannot be rattled, someone who makes decisions with clarity, someone who leads without panic. That presence draws opportunities because people know they can rely on you under pressure. Calm is not passive, it's powerful influence. Learning to respond with calm requires practice. It starts with awareness, catching yourself before the reaction leaves your mouth, before your tone sharpens, before your face changes. It's the discipline of breathing in the pause. It's asking yourself, will this reaction bring me peace or regret? Will this reaction elevate me or diminish me? Calmness is not something you're born with, it's a choice you strengthen every time life tests you. And over time, that choice becomes your character. Carry gratitude like jewelry. It's the one accessory that never goes out of style, the one detail that makes you radiant no matter your age, and the one habit that keeps you both elegant and unbothered through every season of life. Gratitude changes how you move, how you speak, and how people experience you. It softens your presence without weakening it. It brings lightness to your steps and peace to your mind. Gratitude is not about ignoring challenges or pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what you have instead of endlessly obsessing over what you don't. That choice is what makes you timeless, because gratitude never fades out of fashion. When you carry gratitude, people feel it before you even mention it. It shows in the way you greet others, in how you listen, in how you value small gestures. Gratitude humbles you without diminishing your worth. It says, I see what's good here, even if it's not everything. That mindset keeps you from falling into the bitterness that ages people more than years ever could. A life lived without gratitude becomes a life full of complaints, comparisons, and disappointments. But when gratitude becomes your habit, you glow differently. You're less focused on what's missing and more at peace with what's present. Gratitude also keeps you unbothered. The person who constantly complains, who constantly sees what's lacking, is easily rattled. Every inconvenience feels like proof that life is against them, but the person who carries gratitude is anchored. They don't fall apart at every setback because they know how to see the good even in difficulty. They can find value in lessons, strength in trials, and joy in small victories. This doesn't mean they deny pain. It means they refuse to let pain define them. Gratitude builds resilience, and resilience is what keeps you steady when life tries to shake you. There's an elegance to gratitude because it teaches humility. It reminds you that nothing is owed to you, that even the smallest kindness is a gift. That recognition changes how you treat people. Instead of taking others for granted, you honor them. Instead of expecting, you appreciate. People can feel when they're being appreciated, and it draws them closer to you. Gratitude makes you magnetic because it makes people feel seen. And when people feel seen in your presence, they remember you long after you've left the room. As you age, gratitude becomes even more powerful. Youth often chases the next thing, the bigger dream, the higher step, but maturity knows how to slow down and savor. Gratitude lets you enjoy the meal, not just the destination. It allows you to cherish the relationships you've built, the lessons you've learned, and the simple pleasures that others overlook. That kind of presence is what makes someone elegant. It's not in how expensive their clothes are or how big their home is. It's in how they carry a heart that notices blessings even in ordinary moments. Gratitude also affects how you carry yourself in difficult relationships. When people criticize, when misunderstandings happen, when conflict arises, gratitude grounds you. It reminds you that the disagreement does not erase the bigger picture. You can still be thankful for what the relationship has taught you, for what you've gained, even if it's only growth through difficulty. This perspective allows you to respond with calm instead of reaction, with grace instead of defensiveness. Gratitude protects your peace by reminding you that one negative moment does not define the whole. Another beauty of gratitude is how it elevates your language. People who complain constantly speak with heaviness. Their words drain the room, but people who practice gratitude lift conversations. They notice good details, they celebrate progress, they acknowledge effort. Their words become a source of encouragement rather than criticism. That shift alone makes you appear more refined, more composed, more graceful. Gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you sound, and how you sound leaves an impression that lasts long after the conversation ends. Gratitude also builds confidence. Ego often says, "I need more to be valuable." Gratitude says, "What I have is enough to begin." That perspective keeps you from chasing approval or validation because your worth isn't tied to external things. When you are grateful, you no longer need to compare yourself to others. You stop measuring your success against someone else's highlight reel. Gratitude shifts your focus inward to your own journey, your own blessings, your own progress. That kind of confidence is quiet but unshakable. It makes you unbothered because you are too busy being thankful to be distracted by envy. Practicing gratitude doesn't require grand gestures. It's in the small, daily choices, pausing to appreciate your morning coffee, thanking someone for their time, noticing the beauty in a sunset, remembering how far you've come. These little acknowledgments, repeated daily, create a pattern of thinking that rewires your perspective. Over time, gratitude stops being something you do and starts being something you carry. It becomes second nature, like an accessory you never take off. And just like jewelry, it catches the light, it draws attention, and it enhances everything else you wear.